It's Adam Cox here, backstage at the Ultimate Entrepreneur event, and I'm joined by Lynne Sessions, also known as Genix, who is the very person that actually created the right kind of energy and ambience to kick off today's event. So hello.
Hey, nice to meet you.
So you have an interesting prop here. Tell us about this.
This is my friend. This is my medicine drum, and it's part of, I guess, who I am now. That's from quite a lot of years working with Indigenous elders and really having a connection with the drum. The beat, I sing with it, I sing spirit songs, I channel those sounds come through me with an intention to change. Well, they change the energy field, so I might work with somebody and the sounds that will come through will be helpful in reweaving, shall we say, the energy field where it might be broken, where something might be missing. Through that voice and the drum, images come quite often, so I would then possibly travel with a client through into those imagery to work on their intent for shifting and changing something. Also, I help spirits who are stuck go home, open and clear spaces for ceremony, and it's a really good friend for me myself to kind of sing for myself and sing for my own healing and songs that come to me that I work on my own person with as well.
And I'm sure with all that experience and kind of time from all these kind of experts and things like that, you have a very high attuned sense of where energies sit in different rooms and different people. How do you experience that? Do you experience it as a sensation, as a feeling, as an energy itself? How do you experience that?
Kind of as a knowing, as a really deep knowing, which has been quite interesting because in that it's just there and I just know. I've often disregarded it because I'm expecting it to come in another way. I should see this or hear that or whatever in the past. And it's really interesting. We all experience things in a very different way. But that knowing is so quick that it's just kind of how I am. So I got used to it for a long time without really realising what I was doing. But through significant feedback, I realised. So also when I'm talking to somebody, I listen at a different level sometimes, and I see images, and it's almost like there's a kind of decoding that goes on, so that I can then feed back about the kind of, what should we say, the invisible areas, as well as what's actually in front of me. So I'm picking up things on lots of different levels.
It almost sounds like you're describing almost like a form of synesthesia, that you can kind of like cross senses. I mean,
that's a really good way of putting it.
And with that information, you then have the ability to know what to do with that information, whereas other people might know that something's not quite right, but then not know how to shift it. Can you give us some of the different ways in which you're able to kind of detect an energy isn't quite right and then suddenly readjust it, align it in a way that actually makes things much better?
Gosh, that's a big question. I think it's very, very individual and it's very specific. I don't use any formula. I have to be very, very connected and intuitive. And grounded and connected to my heart. That's the key thing. So I will see imagery, I will feel senses, I will hear things in the words people speak that are other than is obvious. And I don't profess to, what should we say, I will always work in a way that will give the power back to the person I'm working with. So in a way, they can then clarify what I'm picking up so that it's theirs, which is really important because it's so easy to put ideas into people's heads, and that, especially when people are looking for help with something and perhaps not trusting their own inner world. So it's really important to me, even though I pick a lot of things up, not to make assumption that I know. It does feel, it's important to me that it's guided by something bigger than me as well as my stuff, but that the power is always given back to the client in their search.
So your intent is for them rather than to kind of exploit, because I guess someone with that level of skill and ability could, if they were, didn't have your level of integrity, kind of exploit that in a way.
Yeah, and I've worked with many people who have been exploited, and I too have been exploited, which is one of the reasons that integrity is so important to me. So I'm grateful I've in the past trained as a counsellor, psychotherapist, shamanic healer, but so much has come from my own journey as well, and really being, I guess, humble to work on stuff and be able to share that stuff now with a confidence, so that people can see, like, we're all human. Nobody's superhuman, and even the best psychic in the world is still human. So it's a bit like a kettle. We have our furred up bits, and I think it's really important to own those, take care of those, have self-care for oneself, and be very mindful of how easy it is to steal power from a person. So yeah, I have been burnt myself in the past through my own ignorance or over-trust And that teaches me again, how do I manage that within me so that I can be integral with somebody else and support them depending on which way they might be leaning.
Totally, and it's an absolutely fascinating thing, and I think I shared with you before that one of the martial arts that I used to do is capoeira, and the rhythm and the element of music and chanting and things like that is integral to that. It's not just a martial art; it's kind of like the overall rhythm, and you kind of get lost when you're in that kind of hodo and kind of doing that. It would be rude of me not to ask for a demonstration, given that you're holding this. What in fact, if I just pass it over to you, like show us what the kind of sounds and things that you can do with this.
Well. One of the things is the songs have always come through me like as whole songs. Some of them are chants and they have teachings attached to them. Then over a period of time they started to come through without words, which is very interesting because it bypasses other people's judgment and my own self-judgment, so that there's a pure channel of energy for people to pick up what they need, which is really interesting because we latch on to so many words. I've been recognised by a few people as in the different languages that come through me, and actually having that understood outside of me, I have a sense of what's going on, but not directly with the pure language. So yeah, I mean, I would ask you if you'll just take a breath yourself, because rather than just bang the drum for the sake of it, I'd like to just connect with you.
Yeah, it's fine.
And just ask you to put your attention on something that you feel that you'd really like, whatever energy can come through to help you with and touch you. So I'm going to make an intention to bring that through with integrity, but then I'm going to ask you to take responsibility for the intention in terms of where it goes, because that's for you.
And I can't share it. It has to be just inside my head.
No, you can share it. It'd be great.
Okay. So what I'm thinking of is that I'm going to be speaking tomorrow afternoon at the Ultimate Entrepreneur. And whereas I know my subject, I haven't necessarily been on stage in that kind of format many times before. So there is an element of excitement, anticipation, dare I say, a little bit of trepidation as well. So from that perspective, any edge, any tips, any help I can get from whatever source is great for me.
Okay, so that's awesome. So just hold that sense of you in the best way you want to be, and just open yourself from your heart to receive only what is highest good for you, and see if you might find images come, you might find that you travel somewhere, you might find none of that happens, but whatever it is fine. Okay. Just open your heart with a question, if you have one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amutakuwe hamocha owe owe yo onachu kamai hoya hoya ochukumai hoya munao Hotagamoto aneu hoa hoa hey yo mono yo chamai
If you just breathe for a moment and just stay wherever you are. Connect with the energy field you're standing in. Just take a nice breath and just let it out gently. Thank you.
That was fantastic, and there was a real, I mean, the sound from this, it's called a medicine drum, really does resonate. It's not just the sound, you can kind of feel the kind of vibration of it. And I wasn't expecting that sound from your voice as well. That was absolutely fantastic. So we've been backstage at the Ultimate Entrepreneur. I've been completely transformed. My energy is completely shifted. So my talk tomorrow is going to be amazing, entirely down to Gen X here.
I'd just like to add, not entirely down to me, to do with us, me, you, and them upstairs.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.